don't know if I had a particular toy per se, but I really love Star Wars toys.
When I was growing up, my favorite toy was a Nintendo 64.
When I was growing up, my favorite toy was a Batman figurine.
Hi, my name is Eric Hecht and I am a toy collector. I've been collecting toys for close to 40 years now. I grew up poor and only had a couple of toys, but really coveted a lot of the toys that came out in the 80s. So I made a mission statement to get everything I ever wanted. And at one point I did. I had every single thing that came out in the 80s that I ever wanted. Toys are important because they're a link to your childhood. They remind you of a simpler time. Right now we have a double wide 2-car garage in my house, and I have 15 bookcases set up with 7 shelves each full of action figures. And then there are 2 60-foot long shelves with nothing but Lego builds and minifigures on it. And then I have another 20 bins full of my cell toys. And then the front room, the mantelpiece, and above the TV is full of displays. I own a wide variety and category of toys. A huge Lego collection, lots of action figures, lots of small cartoon figurines. Nostalgia plays a big role in toy collecting. Most people lose their possessions as they get older and then want them back at a certain point. So like this shelf in particular, the larger size figures are from a company called Dakin, and they released around 1961. And then some of the smaller figures were from a company called D'Agostini. They were Italian release only about 5 or 6 years ago. The toys I collect change depending on my mood, more or less, but my primary focus is on like superheroes or like Disney and Hanna-Barbera cartoons. My Disney collection is starting here with a piece from 1941, and it's really just everything Disney cartoons or movies or live action or anything shoved together. This is one of the rarest pieces in my collection, is the Hydra from Hercules. You'll probably never see another one of these in your life. It's very, very rare. Some of my Mickey Mouses go back to the 50s. Comes down this way. I know Stitch is a favorite of a lot of people. If we're just talking action figures on display, I have about 5,000 right now, probably. And then huge dump bins full of Legos. So it's hard to say an actual amount, but in the 5,000 to 7,000 range. My day starts around 5:30 in the morning, and by 6 o'clock I am already on eBay checking either bids I've put out or what's new or what's what, basically. And then usually, I'm a stay-at-home dad, and my day doesn't really start till school's out, so around noon every day I hit the Fred Meyer, it's a mile away, and check their, every single day, check theirs. And depending on the day, I go to Target about 3 times a week. I go to 2 different Walmarts about 3 times a week. Every day I'm going somewhere. But a lot of times you come home empty-handed too. It's not like I'm buying something every single time I go. More often than not, the white whale's not there.
It has to have been Captain America, because he was always saving the planet and he had a good moral behind his story.
Favorite fictional character was the Count of Monte Cristo, because he was a general badass.
My favorite fictional character growing up was Static Shock, because he was an African-American young male with superpowers, and he always wanted to help the community.
The DC character that I most identify with is Captain Marvel. Now people know him as Shazam. He's a 10-year-old boy. He's the world's mightiest mortal trapped in the body of a 10-year-old boy, and that's kind of an allegory for my whole life. So next we come to my Simpsons collection right here, and the start of my DC superheroes. The Wax collection shows up with Strawberry Shortcake and Care Bears. This is my Captain Marvel shelf, stuff from as early as the 40s on here. And then over here, my Pride and Joy, the Hanna-Barbera collection, some of the rarer things in the room found over here. All right, now we get to the He-Man collection, which runs the whole top shelf. Right here are some pieces I got in 1982 when I was 7 years old for Christmas. Still have every piece. Moves around through the bad guys. And then we have She-Ra, Princess of Power, He-Man's twin sister. Moves down this way to more bad guys and bounty hunters, if you will, and down to the Snake Men. And these 2 shelves here are the bulk of my DC Comics collection. The bottom shelf is supposed to look like Crisis on Infinite Earth's famous picture, and the top shelf is Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern. I think I'm pretty lucky with my family, where a lot of people like to go out to dinner or a movie. My daughter and I would rather go to Toys R Us. So the money an average family would spend on entertainment, we pretty much spend on toys and comics in my house, and everybody's on board. There's never, I want to do this instead or whatever. People used to joke that my daughter would say, I don't want to go to Toys R Us, let's go buy clothes, but that hasn't happened yet.
Toys back in the day used to have a lot of meaning behind them and certain feel and nostalgia. And toys today are just really cheap, put together, and expensive sometimes too.
I feel like a lot of people are playing video games now, not really using hands-on action figures anymore.
I feel like toys when I was growing up were a lot simpler. They were sort of baseline, like here's a truck or here's a doll. And I feel like now they have a lot more elements to it.
I feel that older toys are actually probably better for kids than the newer toys. There's more imagination involved in the older toys. The toys didn't play for you. You had to recreate the scenes and really play with the toys. And nowadays I feel like that's kind of taken away from kids. You push a button and you watch it rather than put the lightsaber out the handle. And I think today's toys stifle creativity more than help the imagination. Too much of it is done for you. It really takes the imagination out. Not every toy, there's still toys out there like the old days, but for the most part I feel like the imagination is kind of taken away. Right now toy collecting's really strong. It's a big hobby with a lot of people involved in it, so the future's bright right now. There's tons of new stuff coming out everywhere you look. So I don't see it slowing down anytime. For me personally, I don't see anything changing. It's fun. My wife likes it. My daughter likes it. We'll just keep going. If I could summarize toy collecting in one word, it would be obsessive.